Saturn. As the second largest of the planets, it's nearly 800 times the volume of Earth. A true gas giant, known for its mysterious, captivating rings. Almost 72,000 miles in diameter, the ring system is barely as thick as a football field is long.
The rings capture the imagination to the point you have to understand where they came from and what do they mean.
To try and answer these questions, humans designed, built, and launched some of the most advanced spacecraft ever conceived.
It was and is the largest outerplanetary spacecraft that's ever been built.
This is a massive piece of machinery.
This is the story of the exploration of Saturn, its rings and moons.
To see something like that on a moon in the outer solar system, it was just spectacular. It still gives me goosebumps to think about all of that working so well.
The building blocks of life could form in the interiors of these icy bodies.
Titan is the most interesting moon in the solar system. Hands down.
To the naked eye, the night sky is filled with points of light. Zoom in on almost any of them, and they remain just that, shining points in a dark universe. But one celestial object revealed itself to an Italian polymath that it was special.
Galileo wasn't the inventor of the telescope, but he was one of the first people to use it for astronomical observations. It was 1610 when Galileo first observed the Saturn system.
His drawings showed what were described as ears or jug handles either side of the planet.
And so he thought, well, these might be moons, but stuck, one on each side of the planet Saturn. He didn't know Newtonian mechanics hadn't been invented. He didn't know that moons have to go all the way around the planet.
When he went back to look at Saturn a couple of years later, he noticed that those features had gone.
Galileo even suggested that Saturn had eaten his own children, as in the ancient Greek myth, and that's why the moons had disappeared. Galileo lived in Italy, but he was aware of other major figures in his time, including Constantine Huygens from the Netherlands. And in fact, it was Huygens' son, Christian Huygens, who eventually solved the puzzle that was posed by the disappearing handles of Saturn.
Christian Huygens turned his telescope towards Saturn. As technology had developed, optics had developed, and he was able to see more.
And what he saw meant that he was able to come up with this radical idea that Saturn was surrounded by a ring system. And he was able to link back to what Galileo saw, because if the ring system was tilted at an angle to our view from Earth, it means that sometimes you'll see the rings tilted and you'll see them sort of almost face on, and other times when the planet is moved, they'll be edge on.
In fact, even today, when Hubble, the best optical telescope we have, looked at Saturn cross through the ring plane, the rings disappeared.
But not only that, Christian Huygens made another amazing discovery, that Saturn has a moon. And it turns out that this moon is a really curious place and is perhaps even more curious than the rings of Saturn itself.
After the discovery by Huygens of Saturn's first moon, Giovanni Domenico Cassini discovered 4 more in the next decades, and moons continued to be discovered over the next few hundred years.